We've got major breaking news in the Xfinity world, plus an update on the Rick Ware Legacy Charter drama. Welcome back to the Breaking Bob channel. No time for a traditional intro. We've got a lot to get into. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. We are always talking NASCAR and racing on a daily basis. And we've got some breaking news to talk about out of the Xfinity world, where Connor Zilisch, the major racing prodigy, the biggest star for years to come up in the Xfinity realm, will not be at Texas Motor Speedway this weekend. Now, if you don't recall, or if you missed it this weekend at Talladega, he had a nasty crash on the backstretch leading on the last lap at Talladega in the Xfinity race. Jesse Love, his best friend, turned him into the backstretch wall head on. It was a nasty collision. I'm not going to show you the actual collision here because it's tough to watch. And, well, it turns out it's worse than we thought. It's confirmed Connor Zilisch will miss the Texas race this weekend due to a lower back injury, and Kyle Larson will be his super sub for this weekend for the Junior Motorsports number 88 entry. Not a bad replacement, if you ask me. Now, Junior Motorsports did release a statement, quote, Kyle Larson will sub for Connor Zilisch behind the wheel of the number 88 Chevrolet this weekend at Texas Motor Speedway, as Zilisch continues to recover from a lower back injury sustained last weekend at Talladega. Dale Jr., team owner, also commented, it sucks to see Connor have to sit out, but I'm thankful he is being smart and patient with this injury. He'll be back in the seat and back at the front of the field soon enough. Clearly, that wreck, though, was bad enough to keep him from competing this weekend. And 18 years old, you got to think the young body just recovers quickly like that. So it had to have been a nasty impact, even if he was able to get out of the car, go to the infield care center, and be cleared. Clearly, I guess the soreness probably set in a day or two later, and bad enough, like I said, that he'll be missing a race in the Xfinity Series as he's going for a championship. He's already qualified for the playoffs with his win earlier this year. I imagine he'll get the medical waiver. Not a doubt in my mind. I'll bet the college fund on it that he'll get that medical waiver, so it won't be that big of a deal, except for it's valuable seat time for a guy who's mostly his experience is on road courses with open wheel racing and IMSA. Texas Motor Speedway is a playoff race later in the season for the Xfinity Series, and so Connor Zilisch missing that first go-around, that's really tough timing there. And obviously health is the most important thing moving forward, so we do hope Connor Zilisch is doing better here at Breaking Bob. Thoughts are going out to him. Hopefully he's at the track next weekend. But for Kyle Larson, not a bad super sub, and it seems like maybe we could get him into a truck. Just somebody throw him into a truck for Friday night so he could go for another weekend sweep. He's come so close, 2 out of the 3 at Bristol and Homestead. Obviously he'll be the favorite, I imagine, jumping into a really, really good Junior Motorsports number 88 entry. But again, Connor Zilisch missing this weekend. Hate to see that with a young talent. Hopefully it's just a one-off and this is not a lingering injury. Speaking of the backstretch wall at Talladega that Connor Zilisch had impact with, that will be looking a little bit different moving forward. Now, it was on the Hauler Talk podcast. Now, that is Amanda Ellis and Mike Forty. They're both in the racing comms area of NASCAR. They were both talking about it and confirmed that wall will be corrected before they return in the fall, Ellis said. They're going to take that lip out, straighten the wall as it leads into that area. Now, you're probably wondering, why is there even a lip right there? Well, Forty explained that is just an angle, is just a byproduct of the access that they have the opening right there so the emergency crews can get in and out of the backstretch. And yeah, it's not the greatest layout really when you look at it in action there, and I'm glad to see that they're making corrections. That this is just Christopher Bell and Connor Zilisch are just the first of many examples. You think about Justin Allgaier years ago, it's just there's numerous occasions of cars going into that backstretch wall head on, and the angle just leaves it for a lot less of a risk of impact there. Connor Zilisch, of course, wasn't at the impact zone that some of them are, but regardless, I'm glad to see that NASCAR is finally taking some steps to making that backstretch safer at Talladega. With the speeds they're going, the last thing they need is a track jutting out at them with the danger already we were doing at drafting's track. So glad to see that moving forward. It's a good change for safety. And finally, an update on the Rick Ware Racing versus Legacy Motor Club charter sale, or lack thereof sale, as Rick Ware Racing contests that they were bamboozled, fooled under false pretenses that the contract they signed was for 2026 and not 2027. Well, they met in court today. It was supposed to be an hour. It lasted 3 hours, and a North Carolina judge denied a preliminary injunction for Legacy versus Rick Ware Racing. So all in all, Rick Ware Racing technically won today. That's all you need to know. You don't need a legal degree for that. But it's very murky regardless. We did learn some of the I guess, information of the transaction, though, and we did get confirmation it was for $45 million, which is a record for NASCAR charter sales in 2025. And it's where we get into the weeds. It's where the contesting is and the murkiness is. Rick Ware Racing says they sold charter number 36, which is currently the number 51 car that Cody Ware enters. But the wording in the contract is described to be charter number 27, which is the other Rick Ware entry charter that is currently leased out to RFK Racing in the Ryan Preece number 60 entry. Now, the way they've talked about it, it makes it sound like they're trying to sell the 27, but under the pretense of number 36. It's very confusing. It's confusing for the lawyers, even, who Rick Ware Racing's lawyer said, I don't think this contract makes any sense. It's chock full of mistakes, but everyone signed off on it. Not an issue if you were going to be a two-car operation, except for they have a plan or a deal to lease another charter to RFK Racing so Ryan Preece could have another entry in the 16 next year so they could have 3 cars as they technically have an alliance with RFK. Well, you can't lease a charter more than once in a 7-year period. So that looks at the number 51 of Cody Ware. They would have to lease that one. The issue is they're trying to sell that charter to Legacy Motor Club. Now, are you staying with me? Are you getting it? I know it's confusing, but piece it together with me. It's like Charlie Day and Always Sunny. Rick Ware Racing is saying that if that would be the case and they have to sell that in 2026, they'd be out of business because they wouldn't have a charter of their own. The charter that would be in theory under their name is going to RFK next year for Ryan Preece. So Rick Ware Racing currently did win the temporary injunction, so they can, I guess, operate as they want with both charters, leasing, selling, but it's murky, and it just seems like just sloppy details on both sides. But regardless, the lawyers are getting paid, and somebody's going to get paid $45 million one way or another for a charter, it sounds like. But let me know your thoughts down below about the Rick Ware Racing versus Legacy Motor Club saga. This is just wacky all around. Then Talladega as well. They're changing the back wall. Plus, Connor Zilisch not going to be at Texas this weekend, but Kyle Larson in the Junior Motorsports number 88. Of course, all our thoughts to Connor Zilisch moving forward. If you're new here, hit that like button if you liked what you saw, and subscribe to the channel for more NASCAR content. I do appreciate it. It helps me out a ton here. We'll see you next time here at the Breaking Bob channel. Stay tuned for more.